Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Pisces August 2023 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James, clairvoyant, and I've done a number of one-on-one clairvoyant readings for Pisceans from different parts of the world, and if you might be interested to see what's involved in that and see how easy it is, just check out the information that's in the description box below. I've also, over the course of the month, done a lot of healings for people. Now, healings are for free. And if that's something which may be of interest to you or someone that you know, the info is in the description box below. But now let's get the tarot underway, shall we, for this month of August for you. And as the subscribers know, and it's always good. It's so good to see the subscribers, your Piscean subscribers each month. Do you know, I really look forward to your company, and thank you for inviting me into your home. And I just love doing the Piscean readings. I just do. It's just something about Pisces. I have a great affinity with I'm not Pisces, but I have a greater affinity with Pisces. You subscribers know, don't you, that we only take 5 cards. We only take 5 cards because we don't spend just 3 seconds on a card and say, oh, it means this. No. Rather, each of these cards speaks to us. It interacts with the other cards that are there, and together they determine who is going to say what and what the structure is going to be of events in your life in August. And so you also know, don't you, subscribers, that we don't have any video advertisements breaking into the content, and so that experience of listening to the cards talk is something that is uninterrupted. Let's get the cards underway now. Pretty clearly you wanted to say something, and that is justice. And a very Renaissance-y looking woman there. There's the Lovers for you. What might there be? Something from up here? What might there be? What might there be? Does that feel right? The Magician. Ah, that's always a good card. It's good for you, the Magician. Let's have a look. It depends what it has to say, doesn't it? In just a second. There's the Emperor. Magician and the Emperor. Well, that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? And finally, what is there? The Knight of Wands. Well, why don't you come, as is our usual practice, come and sit down here next to me. Now, you and I, why don't we have a look at the paintings on these cards together? I'll point out some of the stuff that's on it. You have a look at it. You might see things that I don't. And we'll listen to them speak and say what's in store for you in August while I do the reading for you. Great, I love doing your reading. Now let's have a look. The first card that you drew is that of Justice. Now this is an interesting painting. Let's have a quick look at it, shall we? And see what there is. Well, here is Lady Justice, who I call the daughter of the Lords of Truth, the ruler of the balance. Now, she is sitting on a throne with a red dress with a blue skirt, and it's lined in gold. She is holding with her scales in this hand and a sword in that hand. Atop of her that's an Amazon, I would suppose, you know, one of those ancient warrior women going off doing Amazonian sorts of things. There are 2 suns illuminating the light here. Now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 sort of scenes behind her, and I imagine what they do is that they refer to the 4 seasons. This gold necklace around a rather elongated and attractive neck. The top of her dress is in the shape of an arrow. Now, this is interesting here because if you look at this, these are all breasts along there. And I assume that there is here just poking through the other one as well. Now this evokes the connection with the goddess Diana of Ephesus, who was the goddess of fertility. And I'm looking at the crown that's on the top of her head. There are 3 doorways or 3 big columns and doors there. That's also reference to the temple of Diana of Ephesus as well. So there's the breast and the breast milk. So there's a lot of fertility that is around here. Now, in some respects, I think that this energy here is, in some respects, although I don't know how long you're going to be able to do this, but it's a summons to avoid all the extremes in your daily life. Now, this could refer to emotional disturbances in relationships, or at work, in some creative activity, or in dealing with money. Total centeredness and inner balance are needed if the new ideas which are arising now are to bear fruit for you. You see, from a position of balance, everything develops in a balanced way, in its place, and given its appropriate value. The storms of life throw you out of balance again and again, don't they? Well, this constant change between being centered and uncentered is the process which teaches you to be more conscious from moment to moment in order to retain that inner peace and clarity when you find it. So there is obviously an association here with, as a result of these scales here, the sign of Libra, which is about balance and centering and the balancing of opposites. It's also, naturally enough, about justice, which can only come about as the result of balance. In fact, the astrology here is that of Venus ruling Libra with Saturn exalted, Saturn which is bringing you back to your soul path, to live in accordance with your soul contract and not to deviate out into extremes away from your soul path. Now, it may well be that part of your path is to, from time to time, to experience extremes in behavior, in drinking and in eating, which you would probably know about, as many other people would as well. Now, I think that Libra emphasizes that the energy of this card is all about balance and equilibrium. There is adjustment here. Well, I think also you holding back on making a decision about something, holding back on taking action on something before you've made a decision. You're going to weigh the pros and cons of something here. Yeah, very much I'm getting that. Now, very much the case for me are these colours of blue and green that are there. In some respects, they're the predominant colours that are leaping out at me. Blue is the colour of spiritual and intellectual powers, such as thinking, ideas, and wisdom. And green is the colour of creativity, your power to put ideas into action. And this sword pointing up like that lends a similar meaning. So just pay attention to those things in those situations, really, in your daily life that tend to throw you off balance, and to discover the conditions under which you feel more harmony again. Carry this quality with you more and more as you move through your daily activities. I'll ask you this question. What helps you reach your meditative center? Have you ever been there? And to stay there? And what happens when you lose your center? Say this to yourself. I am balanced and centered. I honor my word. I value being truthful, even in difficult situations. The abundance and beauty of nature is a reflection of my own beauty and nature, and I am at rest in my own center. Now, we might have a look at what was on that horizontal line, which is this Lover's card, and see what it has to say to us, shall we? Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Now, look, obviously the lesbian and gay audiences can, with respect to lovers, just make the necessary gender changes. It doesn't affect at all the energy that's coming through here. Here are two people, in this case a man and a woman, who are professing their undying love and attention to one another. Obviously the outskirts of a town. And look at the ground that they're standing on. There is a deep abyss or a cliff. Now look at the ground on here. It looks stony and painful and difficult to get across, doesn't it? Well, that stony, difficult path to walk is the path of virtue. This path is easy peasy. It's easy for everybody to get along there. Even a baby could walk along there, as many babies have told me. And what happens is that this is easy to get across, and that is the path of vice. Now up above here, I would say that that is Chiron. Now Chiron was that centaur who was full of wisdom and generosity to people, but also a thing that could not be killed. And of course, he had a terrible wound, but he couldn't die. And so the gods took pity on him and they said, we're going to elevate you off this mortal plane. You can go up into the heavens and become the constellation of Sagittarius, which you can see here with the bow and the arrow. But it is not Sagittarius that is the astrology for me this month anyway, given the position that this card is in, above the Knight of Wands and opposite Justice and diagonally opposite the Emperor. Rather, it is Mercury ruling Gemini with Dragon's Head, or the north node of the moon, exalted. Now, some people don't use the nodes of the moon in exaltations or in falls. I do, because I think it's useful to do that personally, and that's just my personal preference. But what this says, though, is it's very, very good for you, Mercury in the sign of Gemini, because it just so happens that Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. Well, when I say the ruler, it's very difficult to say that a planet is the ruler of a constellation, isn't it? So maybe I should say that Mercury is the chief executive officer, the CEO of Gemini, and at home in Gemini. And with the dragon's head exalted there, it's making the north node of the moon feel at home and feeling like a welcome guest. Now this is the children of the voice divine for me, the oracle of the mighty gods. Now this is speaking to me of love, attraction, an approaching connection that you might have with someone. There is a union of opposites through love and becoming conscious through relationship. There is also here the opportunity for partnerships as well. These are things which can be, this can happen in the form of recreational life. It could happen in business life, or it could happen in social life, these partnerships. But there's also there's just a feeling that I'm getting here of being at a crossroad with respect to something, such that you might need to make a choice about something. Yes, commitment is what I see happening here. Now, somebody here is, I think, one of the choices that they are going to be making is choosing between two lovers. Well, good for you. And there is also the possibility of a proposal or an engagement here. Certainly there's also the chance of somebody falling in love. And I think that there is a deepening of existing happy relationships. The lovers really represent two opposites which yearn for and are attracted to one another. Now this duality, which is reflected in every aspect of existence, is experienced most often in relations between people. Every attempt at approach or union or connection is an example of that passionate desire to re-establish the lost oneness that was in the other dimension before we came here. See, everything was one. You come into material world, to space and time, and there is duality, positive, negative, male, female, up, down, hot, cold, everything like that. Now, every individual, every woman and every man contains the duality of male and female. And these express themselves in different, often contradictory, personal characteristics and ways of doing things on behalf of the man or the woman concerned. Now, this energy, I think, may indicate for you a wonderful and exciting love relationship. Current relationships, though, I have to say, are either going to deepen or they're going to end. Now, new methods for personal growth and integration of your own opposing aspects present themselves as you turn towards and interact with somebody else, whether that be a partner or whether it be a group. Look, what do you seek in the people you love? What comprises a fulfilling relationship for you? Say this to yourself: I enjoy working with people of all ages. I have inherent people skills. I am emotionally sure about what I need or don't need, about what I want or don't want in a relationship. I'm now ready to meet the person or people that I have always longed to meet. Now, what's at the other end of that diagonal down there? There is this, is there not? There is, the Emperor. Okay, well, this is Mars ruling Aries with the Sun exalted, which is particularly good because Aries suns are always happiest when their lives are busy and when things are moving forward. Let's have a look at some of the painting that's going on in here. Now, this guy exudes power and energy over the elements that are around him, and this could be seen by him sitting on a platform that squashes down the elements which are causing problems in life, such as very strong winds, such as typhoons, cyclones, hurricanes. That's air. Here is a volcano spewing out hot lava. That's land. Here is a wooden building or village on fire, clearly fire. And here is a ship being lost at sea. There is water. The red cloak and the yellow cube that he is sitting on are symbols of power and authority. This armor is full armor. Geez, I'm just trying to remember. That's an armor that the Habsburgs used to wear. The emperors of the Habsburg Empire used to wear back in the 12 or 1300s, I think. Now, on his hat here, there's like a, what's that stuff called at the front of his head? Now, well, let me put it this way. He's got a helmet on, and at the top of the helmet, there are pyramids. But there's sort of like a fur hat stuff. Ladies, what do you call that thing? Is that called ermine? I'm not really an expert on things to do with fashion, I'm afraid. And here, he's holding as a scepter, a lily with a crescent moon for a handle. So he really is in control of the elements, this fellow. But what does it mean for you just at present? Well, I think that you are going to be primarily concerned with power and control, either over yourself or over somebody else. You see, he is the son of the morning, the chief among the mighty. And there's Mars about here. So there's a warlike energy because it's in Aries. It's not like Mars in Scorpio where there's more that maternal, defensive and attacking nature. It's this outward bound masculine energy that's here. And of course that applies whether you're a lady or not, of course. Now, you will be seen as being a natural leader and organizer, and your willpower and judgment is going to get you through life's experiences, and you'll have success through discipline and application. Now, you will be something of a rational thinker, I think. And do you know what? I think that surfacing up with you is going to be this idea that status is important to you. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. It's a perfectly understandable human reaction or emotion or desire. And I think also material security and stability is going to be important. Now, you might find that there are times through the month where you find you are very volatile and fiery and not at all that chilled out, relaxed Piscean that you ordinarily are. In fact, I'll go further and say that you might well find that you are in some respects pioneering in new directions, looking to discover new things that are out there or about yourself, to make things happen, to create them from nothing. You'll be a leader, and I think other people around you are going to see you as having good leadership qualities. There's an urge and a bias for action here with you. There's new beginnings, and you'll have a sense of authority. Also, what's going to be important to you is order and structure, because you don't want to be doing these very much outward bound, almost aggressive type of activities without the security of a structure around you. And you will be taking a stand, maybe a firm stand, either with yourself or with other people. And I find also here that you could also be taking on extra responsibility. This is really a good time for you to bring about a change or to come up with a new beginning. Trust your own energy and move with it. Now, what fixing up does your life need now? This is the time to renovate yourself. Are there steps that you would like to take towards this? Examine yourself critically. Look at yourself. Get out of yourself and look at yourself as if you were a stranger and examine yourself. Look at your strengths and weaknesses. Always play to your strengths. Always push down your weaknesses. So look at yourself critically, especially in regard to your relations with other people. Say this to yourself: I enjoy starting projects. I value and honor my leadership ability. I am a responsible person. I trust my power. I rule by serving, and I serve by ruling. Well, on the other side of that horizontal is the Prince of the Chariot of Fire. And yeah, I'm really getting a lot of Leo and Cancer around here, so I think that they're going to be important to you. Now, what's the image tell us quickly? Oh, well, I think it's pretty straightforward. Look, this is going back into much older times, of course, probably over 1,000 years ago, where this person might be a Hun, that is someone from northwestern Europe, or even a Mongol, who's on a horse and who's looking out at a town. He has leather armor on. He's holding his wand here, which is in the form of a club. His horse has got a lion, by the look of it, on top of its head, and its armor seems to be that like from a dragon. But what he's looking at is, this seems to be like a village or a township that maybe once was built from masonry or mud and brick, and earthquakes probably knocked it down. It was rebuilt using timber, and it's now on fire. And this crimson skyline is showing, and he's looking at the fire that's there, and all the people are moving out of the town with their belongings. So what there is here, esoterically as the knight, he is, for me, air, and he's in the suit of wands, fire. Now, air and fire get on famously, don't they? So this is a very dynamic card with, I think, a very strong Leo fiery influence around it as well. So air and fire are a fierce complementary energy. And I think that with the heart of a lion, you will stand for honesty and integrity and for what you believe to be for the good of yourself and those around you. There's a strong sense of morality to you at this time. I think that this energy here can also represent a turning point in your life when things have been going along with some difficulty. Now they turn and things start to move ahead, and you start getting good things happening for you. The pressure comes off. You get a release. You can start to sleep at night again. Well, you need to use his energy, as he's pretty fit, I'd imagine, his energy and his enthusiasm and his drive to move on to better things, and now is the right time to do it. You need to wear the same confidence that he has. And he's also reminding you to re-engage in life and take on any challenge that's coming your way. But this Emperor has already told you that you're going to be doing that. He is saying, though, what the Emperor did not say was, you should have a lust for life. Enjoy every moment of it. Now, he is very courageous and he is loyal. Now, it could be someone that you know, someone also who is swift and strong, maybe impulsive, a secret violence to them, but nevertheless just and noble and generous with a sense of humor is what I'm getting. You really do have all that you need, and I'm looking at this magician, which we'll quickly touch on at the end. So don't let yourself be contained or boxed in. Don't let yourself be slowed down, because life out there is prepared to receive you. Keep pushing at things. Trust your boundless creative potential. Now, what challenges are present in your life now? Spread your arms out wide and breathe deeply into your heart and say to yourself, I love life, and life loves me. Now we look finally and quickly at this card here, which is sort of telling me that I've come into the center here to remind you about what I've told you before. That's what I'm getting about it. You've already received this message, but why haven't you taken it on board? Now here's a young man with a very large brimmed hat. Has all the elements of the tarot. There's the wand, there's the sword, there's the cups, there's the coin. He's working on a table which magically has 3 legs without falling over. There is a tulip growing up, just like this tulip that was growing up there beside the Emperor. Now what do you make of this sort of crocodile skin ground that's there? I'll tell you what I see when I see that. I think it is crocodile skin in relation to this, knowingly or unknowingly by the artist, probably unknowingly, is because, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago, the ancient Egyptians, they were familiar with the Nile River crocodiles, but they couldn't see they couldn't work out the genders of the crocodiles. They didn't know which was male or which was female, even after they had dissected them. They knew they laid eggs, so what they assumed was each crocodile could just spontaneously produce life by itself. It didn't need to mate with somebody else for fertilization, like sperm and eggs and stuff. And I think that is what is referred to here, because this thing is growing up out of this crocodile skin, as I call it, straight up, and it's a spontaneous production of life here. He is the magus of power, and what he's saying here is that there's a lot of Mercury over this card, which is about communication. It's also about intellect and analyzing things and working things out for yourself, which of course you're going to be able to do because you're being asked to do that with the Lovers and with the Emperor, the Judge. In fact, everything's asking you to do this here. There's this Mercury here again, wasn't there? And you'll have great communication ability here, actually playful dealings with all possible forms of communication, a flexibility, a brilliance really. There's action, power, manifestation of your ideas and willpower. Now you might be something of a smooth talker. You'll have what the British refer to as the gift of the gab, and you will be able to use everything around you, all tools, all methods to arrive at your goal. Now the temptation to misuse your talents could be great, so his ability and skill lend him power when he's got the right things in mind. Otherwise it can slip into black magic. You have great capabilities at the moment, and use them or lose them. And say to yourself, the full expression of my creative potential fulfills me and makes me happy and satisfied. Well, what a fantastic spread of cards for you. Well done, you. I really must say that that was a very interesting set of information provided by the cards for you this month, don't you think? And doesn't it look like it's going to be a fantastic month for you? And you deserve it, I think, don't you? Now, do me the favor, would you? If you did like the video, please press the like button on your way out. It helps the YouTube computer thing promote the channel. And that's the only favor I ever ask of you, so thanks if you do that, and I'll see you again next month. Now, but remember this though, until I do that you are a legend, and I do look forward to seeing you again next month, and until then, it's bye for now.